Monday. My apologies for not being here Monday. So we have Jim Ogle here to speak. I think Don said he set up 9:30. If it's okay, we'd like to just go ahead and move right into that, if everybody's okay with it. Okay. Benzie's here anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do appreciate the opportunity and for the dispensation that all of you have made for me to come down here on a Wednesday. I'm going through a process of chemotherapy, and those are all scheduled on Mondays. So it was screwing up my schedule to be able to come down here. So I'm thankful for the opportunity along the way. And Angie, thank you for helping out and getting me scheduled. I also want to thank your assistant, the clerk, for helping get this scheduled as well. I introduced to many of you one of our board members, Kristen Zane. We are a non-for-profit organization and have a volunteer board of directors that represent both sides of the Kansas-Missouri border. And really thankful that Kristen is down here and able to answer any questions that you might have along the way. Now, I put together a packet of information to try to address some of the history and the like. I was able to watch your May 2nd meeting, and I know you all had a number of questions that were asked. I'm going to try to answer them, and anything that I miss, please don't hesitate to ask me about this. So I was going to start with who and what we are. Freedom's Frontier National Heritage Area is a not-for-profit, originally established as a not-for-profit in 2003 as the Territorial Kansas Heritage Partnership. It was an effort to recognize the Bleeding Kansas period that was then being considered. Missouri politicians said that you can't tell the Bleeding Kansas story without telling their story too. And they wanted the heritage area to include both states, and that's what they eventually came toward. The original legislation was written by Jim Ryan and Senator Brownback at the time. And that's why in this original section, there was a process of reaching out to the counties and the like that I'll go over in a moment, but then it was folded into a larger legislative piece that established our heritage area and a number of others along the way. So I have a sheet for you called Fast Facts that just tell how we operate and what we do. In the elements you can refer to along the way. I'm not going to read all the forms to you, but I do want you to know a little bit about the material that is there. Now, one of the questions that was asked me when I took the original phone call is, has Freedom's Frontier ever received any money from you? We haven't, since we were established in 2006, but I found documentation, and it is in your packet, that showcases how you came to be involved in 2003. There is a letter in here from the then head of the Chamber of Commerce noting that Sid Meeker, noting that you had made a $500 contribution to the Territorial Kansas Heritage Alliance for the purposes of doing the feasibility study. That is the only record of any money that I have that has come from you all along the way. At the same time, your folks, Deborah Keenamore, I'm not certain how that last name is pronounced, but was at the Coffee County Historical Society, and she signed up the Historical Society as a partner. You can also see there is a newspaper article about the commission doing this, and another newspaper article about the Commerce Department granting an award for the Bleeding Kansas heritage area to give you some feel for that along the way. Finally, in here, the other site, I can never pronounce this correctly, Oakley Yahola Memorial Native Stone Building, that was filled out by Mayor Freeman for participation back then as well. So just wanted to make sure you all had that documentation to showcase. Now, you were shown a printout of our management plan in that last presentation. The legislation required us to develop a management plan before we were authorized to receive any funding from the National Park Service. That management plan, I didn't attempt to copy for all of you because it included letters and everything else, but I do have a very short executive summary of that management plan that tells you about the original goals of Freedom's Frontier. And as part of those original goals was our attempting to denote the 3 themes that are nationally significant for this region. And they determined that shaping the frontier, our agricultural heritage, the settlement heritage that occurred here, the Missouri-Kansas border war, and the enduring struggle for freedom, represented by sites like Brown versus Board of Education, were the 3 themes that would be of national significance for us going forward. So when the original legislation was passed, and I believe you have toward the back on the left-hand side, copy of our original legislation, I have highlighted all the prohibitions by law that we have to keep from doing anything with personal property rights. We can't own property as an organization. We rent our office. We can't participate in zoning discussions. Indication of that is you've never seen me before today. And I think maybe the last time anyone from this effort was here when Judy Billings came in 2003 to ask for your support. There is, I said, we can't give anyone access to private property. We can't enforce liability, any of those elements. Now that's written into the law. This was passed by Congress and signed by President Bush. It cannot be overturned by any presidential proclamation. The president cannot willy-nilly overturn a law. He can argue for things, as he has with his proclamation about 30 for 30, directing them to develop a plan, but we can't be part of that plan by law.
So you're not part of national parks, nothing, they don't contribute to you?
They do.
Then with them using that, how does that not affect you?
They don't give us any guidance on these issues.
So they just hand you money and it's...
We have to fill out what we're going, a listing of what we'll do with the money each year. We have a regional supervisor who signs off on that, and then they allocate the funds that Congress appropriated.
So this, the 30 by 30 doesn't change any of that?
Nothing.
Well, everything you read on that 30 by 30, that is how it's going to get implemented into.
And I have read some of the statements people have made about 30 by 30. We're prohibited by law. Not all heritage areas have the prohibitions that we have. Ours were written by Judge Danelle Reese Taha. She was our first chair, and the Taha family you may recognize because of the role they played. Her mother was a longtime Republican National Committee woman. They've been involved in many organizations, and she served on the federal appellate court until she retired. And she wrote this legislation this way so that there could never be a question about our participation. Nor have we been asked to, nor have we in our 15 years ever weighed in on this issue with everyone, nor do we intend to. Our work is about historical sites and museums, and they are opt-in. We have no authority to go in and force anyone to do anything in that regard. So I can only speak to what the law says, and the law is ironclad. Congress would have to change the law before we be allowed to do any of this that may be brought up by the Interior Department or anyone else.
Or the executive order. Or the executive order on Biden. So that won't affect.
No, sir. The executive order can't trump what's in law. Could it trump others who don't have the prohibitions? I'm not a lawyer and I'm not going to try to practice law, but I, again, reviewed this with Judge Taha, who is still a practicing attorney, and she is certain of the ironclad nature of these. If you would like any further documentation, I'd be happy to provide it, but that's not our business and we're not interested in it along the way.
So do you participate in any zoning at all in the state of Kansas?
No.
Somebody's gonna go in, affect Battle of Mine Creek, affect down here in Leroy, close by, that's not even a.
We're not a zoning, I'm not professionally capable to impact zoning. I don't have the training or the experience, nor do we have the inclination or the ability to under law. These are issues that have to be worked out by local authorities, not by us.
So if something's coming up in their county zoning, you won't go and represent the site that it's by or anything like that?
Never have.
Never have.
And we are often asked by sites to write letters in support of their preservation efforts. But they own the land, we don't. And we're happy to support individuals who want to do preservation on their own land. But we don't weigh in front of public bodies on this. It's not in our bailiwick. Other questions? Because I know this is a troubling issue for all of you. It is for many Kansans.
I was looking on your website, trying to get into your board minutes. Maybe I was doing it wrong. Do you have to join the Frontier to get into your minutes of the meeting?
No.
You don't?
You shouldn't have to.
I wasn't able to, but with my computer knowledge.
I would be happy to send you board minutes if you would like. They're all public records. Our financials are public records. Our management plan is a public record. We are transparent on all of this.
Well, I was trying to get into it, and each time it says that you would have to have a ID or a password.
I think to add minutes, to post something onto the site, I know you need that, but just to click on them and open them, you don't need that.
I wasn't able to.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm sorry. Again, if you'd like me to send you those, I can. Any other questions?
I guess I would have a question. From what you're saying and from what the other person's saying, it's north and south.
I know.
So, I mean, I don't really see much of any common ground between the two. So how can it be so far north and south? That's what I don't understand.
I can't speak to why they began by attacking this proposal for a new heritage area along the Kansas-Nebraska border. And I know that's why they held a series of meetings. But I also know the folks who came to speak to you also came here and spoke to you about some of the same issues. I know they spent a considerable amount of time talking about developments in Lyon County. Lyon County isn't part of Freedom's Frontier. The whole discussion about how we may have impacted zoning there or worked through economic development to change zoning, they're not even in our area. We've not done any of that. There's a map in here that shows that Lyon County didn't participate. I have since received inquiries about Lyon County joining Freedom's Frontier, but I've never, to my knowledge, I've never talked to a commissioner from Lyon County. I've gone to events in Lyon County. I might have run into one and not known it, but we don't have anything to do as an organization with Lyon County at this time. So I'm not going to try to characterize all the things that they said to you. I can just show you what the law says and what our practice has been for the last 15 years. And we don't do that. So, as I mentioned earlier, we are an opt-in organization. We focus on historical sites and museums. No one must join. So, I'd like you to think about it as your beautiful library here. Lots of people have library cards, but they don't go by the library every day. They use it in different amounts. We have a total of 322 partners, of which a little more than 200 are historic sites and museums. The others are reenactor groups and things like that, and don't have a site to visit. Different sites use us for different amounts. So I know there was also some discussion in my phone calls about your current museum director isn't aware of some of the things we do. Again, we don't force anyone to take any of our materials. We communicate to this large group of partners through our Monday Minute and offer a variety of programs along the way. And that's where the program highlight sheet comes in about the different things that we have done as programs to assist those folks. I also have some testimonials from different partners that I gathered up so they, in their own words, could suggest to you why they find value in being a partner with Freedom's Frontier. Now, one of our most important efforts is also to assist in economic development in the region through heritage tourism. So we have a number of events and partnerships that we do to try to support. We have a partnership with the Lewis and Clark Trail to bring day tours through here. You have one of these in your packet. We have a partnership and helped found the Kansas African American History Trail. Most of the sites for this trail are in our geography, and so we thought it was a very fitting way to encourage people to learn more about our history. We produce a map. You've got a copy of the map in there. Many people still like folding maps to find their way to things and to look over things. But we also know this is a new age for a lot of people who like to have their materials available to them on a mobile device, and that's why we created the Freedom's Frontier app. So we have a website, an app, and a map, and I printed out what the two displays look like for on our website and on the back from our new app to help encourage people to visit. They not only can look for places by location, but they can travel between themes. We have 15 different themes. So not just the main things we mentioned, but different trails, around railroad, Native Americans and the like. We can tie all those sites together because many tourists focus on one kind of element that they want to explore. And we help get them turn-by-turn directions with this new app to be able to visit along the way. So you all, I'm so appreciative of the support that you have given before, previous commissions have given before, and would really appreciate, after reviewing these materials and giving due consideration, I'd love to have you renew that support. I included a possible resolution in there. Should you be satisfied with what we have told you and any other information you need, we think it's important to tell our history and to engage people in this history. And that's why it was so important to me to be able to come down here today and share these with you and try to answer any of your questions.
I'm glad you came down to kind of clarify some of this for us. It's not attached to the 30 by 30 at all. It's just the way I'm understanding this. So, like Bob said, it's north and south, so.
On your board of trustees, how many representatives of ag do you have on your board?
Let me look back through the list. We have a rather large board of trustees, as you can see. I'm looking down the list right now, and none of the current members of the board. Nancy Feldman is a farmer and former commissioner in Douglas County and just left the board. Her term expired. Currently, there are no ag representatives on the board.
Several cousins that farm in Kansas City area. My family, not, but
I wasn't aware that Kristen had cousins who farm.
Anybody have any other questions for Mr. Ogle?
did everybody get a folder too?
Pardon?
Did everybody get one of these folders?
I think so.
I believe so.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah,
Thank you for your time, Jim.
very informational.
If you all have any other follow-ups, I know Angie knows how to get a hold of me. You've got my card. I'm happy to provide any further information for any of you.
Awesome.
You know, a little bit of the information we've been seeing, Jim, and there's much here. I'm a little bit at a loss. Like you said, it's north and south. 98% of the land in Kansas is definitely privately owned, only 2%. So there's no movement at all in this organization to increase that government ownership of property.
None whatsoever. It's
it's
literally until 7 weeks ago, when I first heard about this was being raised out west, I was flabbergasted because I was like, what would that have to do with us? Because unfortunately, what they did was they listed the Kansas-Nebraska thing, and then they would mention that there's another heritage area in Kansas and Missouri. And I knew we had these prohibitions and hadn't done anything in it. Kim, I'm sorry.
I wanna look and see if they have prohibitions in their area.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. I don't know that they've even filed legislation.
Can you understand the concern?
It needs to be addressed, no
Yes,
question.
it does.
And it's so important. That's why I wanted to be down here and give you, the best I can, a full accounting of everything, including going back to a check written in 2003. I want to be transparent about this as possible. Again, I've never been down here to talk to you about any of those zoning things. I've talked to no government body about zoning or joint economic, I remember it was said that they'll offer large grants to get them to change the zoning rules. I don't have large grants to give out. Certainly not enough to move anybody to do that. Our grants are, in the $3,000 to $5,000 range, sometimes only $1,000 to help the individual organization start or stop something. And again, we don't do any of the other stuff.
The National Park Service, though, does give you a percentage of your money, correct?
The National Park Service gives us an allocation that Congress does through appropriations each year. Ours this year happens to be $400,000, this budget year.
In that letter, or in that contract that you enter, is there anything about zoning in it?
No.
Nothing.
No, our work plan talks about, our current work plan talks about developing the app to promote heritage tourism and partner meetings, and giving grants to local historical sites and museums who are our partners. The economic development people aren't our partners in this. It's like, I'm expressly prohibited of giving a grant to someone who's not a partner. And again, my grants are no more than $3,000 or $5,000 at the top end. And I don't think any board is going to listen to me on that basis. I know, again, everything is what we do through a collaboration and partnership. Was made mention, why did it take them so long to get signs up? Because we can't tell the, bless you, we can't tell the state of Kansas they have to put the signs up. We had to talk them into it because of the uniform manual for highway signs. So eventually they did that, and that's why you have one as you cross the county border, because you're part of us to the west. But that took almost 4.5 years of working both in Kansas and Missouri on that project. Again, if I had the kind of authority they're suggesting I have, I should have been able to handle that in a half hour.
With the benefits of being a member of this, what does it draw to Coffee County? What has it helped us since 2004, 2005?
2006
How
is
much
when
tourism has been drawn into this area?
it is very expensive to do a tourism audit. And each location counts visitors in a different way and does economic impact studies in different ways. So an economic impact study for us costs anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000. We have not done a study like that. So I can't speak specifically. The best I could gain is if someone from outside the county filled out in your visitor's book, if you have one at the museum. Certainly there's not one at the memorial. All we know is we're adding layers on telling the story. The Kansas Department of Tourism, they're doing a special section now on the Freedom's Frontier sites on their website. We can only add layers to that, but it isn't the only thing we do with that money, but it's a significant part of it. And we felt like we needed a tool for future generations who are more comfortable with searching for places that they want to visit through a handheld device.
How do you advertise? Any commercials, any pamphlets other than local or?
Rack cards, our maps are put out in many of the rack card locations for the tourism centers and our partner sites. We make available maps and the wrap cards for all of this as well. But again, we don't tell them they have to do it. We offer them up. If they want them, we get them to them. We also do some Facebook advertising because you can target people who have interest in history and in a particular geography area that makes it extremely cost effective. It's less cost effective to do traditional broadcasting, whether in a newspaper or radio or television, for that very reason, because you're getting a lot of people who may not have that interest. Other questions?
Wish I knew some of the questions to actually ask, so we'll discover more as we read.
As you discover more, please let me know. But like I said, and I wouldn't be a good representative if I didn't ask you, I would really love for you all to review this, and if you find it appropriate, to renew your commitment to the history that is represented by what we're trying to do. So I thank you for the opportunity along the way.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Information.
If you don't mind, we'll take our leave. Is that okay?
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you for your time.
I think so. We'll find out if I didn't.
Exactly. You don't see that very often, do you? Been one of our allies for a while.
So, if you did this, I'll stop this or just.
How about-
There was a sheet. This sheet, the one that
I live pretty close, so I don't watch it.
Oh, I didn't read that.
This one just had like all the areas they pushed.
I absolutely refuse to watch WWW.
But in the one that we were in,
Absolutely refuse to watch any
this is
news.
all about this one. Because this
I didn't
is
have the internet last night, so I
And
didn't
so
watch
they're showing that how
any
the county
internet
actually
TV.
got rid of their push
satellite
tourism and satellite.
listen to Newsmax on my phone.
Some of that on the internet.
They're actually declining. They're ones that have got to try to have the housing, businesses.
Mhm.
It's just kind of a call.
I didn't read that one. So.
That's why.
I'm trying to make the border crossing his on him.
It just seems like a certain one. I'm not fit for the next.
And so I just pulled a few of these just to highlight those who were through or not, so I just pulled a few. But these are. So they're the ones that are on the subject, and then the rest of the major counties across. They're actually all grouped.
Yeah, that's what there's up
So I
there.
don't
Yeah.
keep it.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't gonna switch my TVs over to run off my hotspot on the phone last night, because that just makes it a nightmare to get back over on the
So
regular.
basically.
You notice, when I was reading through that, I was amazed that
I don't think you did.
percentage wise, we lost more than our school guys.
And so why they're not staying is they're diverted and a lot of what they're freedom to
I don't know. I mean, compared to Osage, it's like,
go. And I know they said that was approved in 2006 to 2010, and there's only one that I can get every, so it's 2010.
What this says there, maybe there's too much.
It's
Gotta be something.
The park,
Who's right?
the Park Service,
That's the part where,
here you bet the fine print.
Yeah.
With that money they got coming in.
that's the part. Yeah, and here's, that's because they took national money, parks money. They could be adopted into the national
More
park.
time to it, just like the way we ended up in the national DOT
Yeah.
and the lovely lights and that again, everything. Commercial tax.
It might have been done for all the right reasons, but it can be taken away for all the wrong reasons. Why does it seem like we just did this a couple weeks ago?
A month ago. Like a week
Yeah,
ago.
it does. Goodness gracious. It's almost June.
Where did they go?
With the wind, I guess.
The rain.
The rain got washed away.
Anybody done any research to see if this is one of the better years we've ever had?
Not that I've heard of. Only thing you hear about California dry.
They've got all the water, they just need to chisel them. Go ahead and break that fault line and roll off into the ocean. Have all the water they need.
Right now, we need to get rid of the little metal.
Yeah.
Look in water again.
Yeah. So did Bobby and, Wade coming into that?
I spoke to Bobby previously, and he said he was waiting to hook up with Wade, and they just come in whenever.
Do a surprise attack.
Carl, that was briefly too.
Carl,
Short
yeah.
executive.
I figured that was gonna be coming up. I did find out we had a computer glitch on the paper. The deal was, the K4 was sent, but it wasn't received by the state of Kansas, or it was received and not done correctly. Therefore, I took it back. Out of all the payroll that my accountant does, had eight that did not get posted. And I think there was 8 or 12 that did. They won't retract anything, it'll just go away, just fade away, hopefully. I mean, as far as the paper goes, they won't put anything in the paper.
They need to.
They should.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, similar thing happened here. What that I just did.
Oh, really?
Back in 05, we submitted to the Social Security Administration, and for whatever reason, it didn't go through. Well, we found out later, it was because of a firewall.
Oh,
So we found out we had to open the firewall to get it submitted. Even though
it
we got a confirmation number, but the confirmation didn't go.
didn't go, right, right,
So we have that exact same thing. It took us 2 years to figure that out.
wow. Yeah, it's frustrating, but, you know, like I say, one time in the newspaper in 29 years, that's not too bad. It's paid.
It has to be frustrating.
That way everybody in Sesame Street land can sleep better at night, I guess, knowing that I'm
They
paying.
should be. They ought to get 8 hours.
Yeah. Because Lord knows I won't.
Sorry.
I think we had an accident and have problems with it.
I had no trouble with
So you've probably been blocked. Would be my guess. You've been noted as a hostile. Exactly. All you need to know.
That was worth him coming down. What do you think?
It was interesting. I have a lot of questions I would still want to be, but as far as like the,
Well, you're welcome to ask.
well, I never know, maybe I should.
No, yeah.
But as far as the legislation, then, I mean, the legislating is, their plan talks about 15 years from 2006 is 2021, so why the need for a resolution to continue support for what? What have they done in 15 years except
I wanted to ask that.
why the resolution if we're an opt-in?
Exactly. Why did it take 15 years to do a resolution?
And when he talked about this Coffee County Historical Museum, for the eligibility requirements, we are already located within the boundaries. So this didn't have anything to do with becoming, we were already in the boundaries for her to become an event application. So this had nothing to do with wanting to, we were already in. And so that 15 years, somewhere in the management plan talks about 15 years from the time of the act, and the 15 years would be 2021.
No, you're welcome. As far as I'm concerned.
Fresh.
Just say,
Like I say, it's so north and south.
There are
from what
several,
the
like,
letter said.
And that,
So-
he did copy the page that it's in somewhere about the 15 years.
Mhm.
Bring back all the either state line and then make a decision.
Because he highlighted other things, I'm trying to find what the 15 years applies to. Does it apply to the time they gave you money for something like that? Or is it from the time that it was passed in the legislation?
I was probably where the money come from and forward and what put it in.
go back and listen to that video of when Angel spoke and she was speaking on. She spoke to somebody who said, well, what can we put in the laws that would make you happy? She said, nothing, you're already not following what's, I would like to find out which specific things she was talking about. He said, well, it's in the law that you.
Kind of told me they have to.
They can see who searches them, they can see.
But
Yes. Cell phone. Geofencing, you know, geofencing. Yeah, you can put a circle around which courthouse, and any cell phone that comes in and out of which courthouse. We'll put a cookie on your cell phone, feeds it back to the people that put the geofence around it. And then you'll start seeing advertisements of the courthouse on your on Facebook and stuff like that.
I did a search on the computer. Frontier came up. Little advertising block.
Yeah.
So last night did surprise me.
If that applies to something specific, or they,
Yeah, it takes a lot of reading and thinking and discovery, I think.
Morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
All right. We're all
Good. I just want to step in and let you guys know that I accepted Courtney's resignation on May 24th for his job as radiological officer. concerning personal issues we were having in the office. I just wanted to make sure and keep you guys in the loop so you knew what was going on.
Thank you.
So, any questions or?
You're gonna be applying for another?
Huh?
Are you gonna be advertising for another?
Yes, we're just gonna let this week sit because we're trying to sort through everything, find everything in the office. Courtney's been great helping us out when we've asked him questions. But I was asking my, like with Amber, how we would want to redo the job description if we wanted to make sure to reflect what we're gonna do in the future.
That's why I wondered about if you were looking at revamping the job description
Yes,
before
we
you
were.
advertised.
Yeah, I'll be going down Tuesday to visit with Woodson County to talk to them and bring them up to speed on everything. And also I'd have to get a resolution from them that I need the emergency manager for Woodson County. So, just like I would here.
Did,
Aren't you anyway, since we have a contract with them, aren't you?
Yes, but with through KDM, they want a resolution naming me that because Courtney's on it right now. It's just like the resolution that you guys passed appointing me as Coffee County Emergency Manager, but we need to do it with Woodson County also. So to make it official with KDM. It's just a paperwork thing.
did Courtney go ahead and step down on his own?
Yes. Wade, Courtney and I met together to discuss the policy and procedure manual and my recommendations for termination, and he decided just to step down.
Step down, okay.
Yeah, just to step
So he
down on his
stepped
own.
down on his own.
So. Yeah.
Nope.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you. Angie, here's an invoice from the Secretary of State. And I'm sure we've seen it before because it's an annual. What's that provide us?
What does that say on there? Is that the,
It doesn't say nothing. It just says Elvis annual cost.
that's,
You want to speak up just,
that's our annual fee for the use of our voter program on our computers upstairs.
okay. So it's just something we absolutely have to have every year.
That allows us access to it, access to the voter program.
Okay.
It was through the,
And I'm sure we've seen it said annual, so I'm sure we've seen it every year. I don't remember that.
yes, it is annual.
Step down just a minute, I got a question on these tonight.
Like have one pen tight behind your back, isn't it?
Well, luckily I'm right-handed.
But you still use your left hand more than you think.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I call it gravity. It's flip-flops, an anxious dog, and gravity, and then a bicycle being placed in
Not a good spot.
not a good spot.
For the record, I don't want to be next.
That's the best picture I could paint. I'm way less coordinated in a pair of flip-flops than I am in tennis shoes. I'm way less coordinated at 63 than I was at 53. I don't know how else to say it. Brad.
Did you break it or just sprain?
Pretty bad sprain. Yeah, it's got a bigger, yeah, it's kind of ugly. Just keep pressure on it. That's why I was gone Monday. I didn't want to be here with, on pain meds and be going drooling or something. Now that I can bear it, I'll just muddle through it. The best way to describe my bird dog is yesterday we were sitting on the front porch and she's pointing at Bumblebee, waiting for it to leave the flower so she can pounce on it. So she's a mile a minute.
Okay, so we need that for this.
They had it, they had approved this, you know, wasn't correct.
I'll probably just have to do it later.
That Jack.
Yeah, we'll wait it.
I need to hold something, Bob.
Yeah, they just had the wrong number on it.
Okay.
They added it up wrong, so the check's gonna have to be changed. Nothing wrong other than that, it was just. Yeah. More, had a higher number for less time than what they had for. Got it straightened out.
Okay. So I need to hold the sugar.
I'll pull it later.
I don't know. I just,
All right, wait on it whenever I
I
pull
don't
it.
remember that.
I got the voucher, so I can pull
You know
it.
what number it is?
95894. 894. Just write Boyd on it. You would.
There's actually two away from there.
Oh, yeah.
I have to come back up Friday and get my tags for my vehicles, so if you got another check or something.
We'll probably wait and reissue it after the first of the month in June. That way we don't mess anything up for anyone.
Okay.
Unless something else comes up.
That will be Friday morning, get tagged. Pay my contribution. I can only imagine. Jesse, all those trucks yours? Remember what you used to, well, of course, you probably always had to have KCC tags, but
Yeah.
I didn't used to have to until, last 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I come up here and tag all my stuff for under $2,000, now it's close to 5.
Yeah.
You don't imagine what yours is.
It's not cheap. About $5,000 a truck.
A year,
I'm 38.
make money hand over fist.
Oh, yeah, thinking lots of money.
It was cheaper before the little make tags.
And then your insurance can't.
Oh, yeah. That's a.
See, the only way I keep mine down is of course, we don't travel more than 170 miles to Burlington anyway. I did the 100-mile radius, so I'm not out of state, in transit, whatever.
Intrastate.
Yeah,
In
intrastate, yes. Which cheapened it up some.
We go all
Well, that's why the guys that work for me, they don't want to be, they want to be home.
Right. Well, now you got a, what is it, 1 ton commercial full and trade, that have a CDL?
Over 26,000 1 pound
Yep.
total gross vehicle weight.
Now you
This
gotta
is
be
on,
under 10, so you don't have to get a health card.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta do, everybody gotta do that.
Yep.
so this is on the Freedom's Frontier page itself, and it talks about that it has a termination,
You know
has
how
a
hard it is
termination
to
authority
get a
date of 15 years from when the law was enacted, so that is
Under
not,
10.
so 2021 is their sunset year.
So that's like right resolution.
Yeah, because they need reauthorization, so now it says this is a good opportunity to collectively pursue National Heritage Area Program legislation,
For sure.
because their funding ends in 2021. They will no longer be eligible for federal funding in 2021.
Heritage program is not eligible for federal funding, is that what you're saying?
Well, it says in 2006, Congress passed the bill creating Freedom's Frontier National Heritage Area with a termination authority date 15 years after the law was enacted. This means under the current law, Freedom's Frontier will no longer be eligible for federal funding in 2021, sometimes referred to as our sunset. It is the best interest of the heritage area and its partners to pursue reauthorization through 2 methods. And that would be one of them, would be the local.
Tell them. Are they? Nobody had internet yesterday.
Interesting.
And it says,
The power pole company put the lines in on the south side of 50 highway yesterday, just east of Casper. Went through the fiber optic cable.
That was what my problem was.
Where was that at?
East of 50 in Casper. Well, it was out all night. I mean, I don't know. I think that's MT, I think that's MT network fiber cable. Right? Or that's what ties leave over to Waverly, library, which supplies a lot of your wireless
Yeah.
internet comes in on fiber too.
Well, I had internet last night, so I have used that.
Well, you had as good as you could get in one.
You better say than I am. Look, it's the other one. Chris, get it done.
Ah,
So, you still got that. I also got this.
You do that when I was.
it looks like Tom's still got a few more time. Gave him heartburn.
And you got something out of it.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Tim, they're on the Freedom's Frontier page. They have a page that says the reauthorization 2021 is their sunset year, where they will no longer be eligible for federal funding in 2021. Do you want that page?
Yeah.
So how are they gonna fund that?
Well, this reauthorization that they're wanting would extend because they're 15 years. Even their plan says that their termination of authority is 15 years after the date of enactment. And so on their site, the majority of heritage areas have a sunset date of 2021. This says, and this is from their site, with this many heritage areas needing reauthorization, we are provided with a good opportunity to collectively pursue national heritage area program legislation. While program legislation has been introduced in the past several Congresses, there will be an increased sense of urgency for the 116th Congress to pass program legislation with multiple heritage areas pursuing reauthorization. And the second method for pursuing reauthorization is through individual legislation. That a member or members of our congressional delegation would have to introduce a resolution to reauthorize Freedom's Frontier National Heritage Areas.
Well, I think you said there's a resolution in that packet to re-sign up. I'm assuming. Well, that's what I'm saying. Or is that not, they're not going to be coming to the secretary or what, yeah.
That would be the fine print that I would want to see.
Mhm.
Try to override 33.
Yeah, I've heard something about that.
Are you ready for the next box?
Yeah, I'm
Good
good.
easy.
You go ahead and sign them. It looks like Road and Bridge has got a light bunch this week, or this week.
Can we grab that?
Hey.
Looks like a shorter stack than normally.
Yeah. I'm not sure I got. I'm sure they got that thing. Jackson or somewhere. Jackson or somewhere else. isn't it?
Kind of nervous, actually. I'm assuming that's what this says. Checks on it, Premier 13. Oh, I think Don missed that, didn't he?
Yes. I didn't take any out, so there's no checks in there.
Some that you're signing now, are they still?
No, I didn't pull any checks out of there.
Okay. I just wanted to figure
All
out,
these checks came out of that. That took that. I'm looking to make sure it's easy.
Yeah, right here.
There's none of these are associated with Road and Bridge that I can tell.
so there's no checks in Road and Bridge file.
I can go call and see if there's.
I think Angie may be calling in.
Yeah, they're bringing them, they.
Okay. I think
Don needs to sign that.
there's something wrong,
Okay.
Maybe.
Blame my other one.
You missed that, Don.
I'm sorry,
You missed that one.
I did? No, I've signed it.
You signed it?
You just can't read.
Oh.
I can't read mine right, let alone.
Angie, why does Road and Bridge do their own checks? How come the clerk's office doesn't do all the checks?
I think they just wanted to do that years ago. I mean, it's been that way for as long as I can know. Not a very good answer, but it's the way it's always been, I guess.
I was just curious why we had two different groups doing checks.
They just do their department and we do everybody else.
Do they use the same system?
No, oh, well, yes, they do. They enter in, but they also enter in, we have another system they enter into to track how much product they use, the cost of the job and all that. At least they used to, I don't know if they still are.
Do you do does all their time sheets come in, all the employee payroll come through your office?
I think they kind of keep track of their time sheets and put it on the different things for us and then
How much problem would it be if your office did all the checks? It big more amount on it?
oh, it would be more.
I'm just looking at, needs to be some changes made, just wondering maybe one office shouldn't be doing all the county checks. Think about it.
They still do them once a month, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't do them any different times.
Probably they might do a special issue of we do.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well, anybody can do it. Just goes to show it and come through the commission. Come through, Congress or whatever. Department of Commerce. It's been on the schedule.
Those and
Chamber of Commerce.
Have your assistants get this clip on again this week.
yeah, why don't you let me do it?
One entity.
Not enough out on the end.
Tied the whole county into heritage.
What do you do? You want to see, the museum?
Yeah.
Really not. We give it some support them, but they have their own board, we have really nothing to do with them. And I could see that director doing that. Just that was really hard. I knew he was.
So what keeps the next one from doing?
I guess they could do. But one, because we have no say.
But they're doing the say-so for the whole county.
And that's not right either. Well, Bill Freeman kind of did that too, and he did the little deal in Leroy, that kind of threw the whole county.
She can hear, yeah.
Who?
Sydney, I forget what she
Didn't he? She was the Chamber of Commerce director. She was Chamber director.
Quite a while, wasn't she?
I don't know, it's been a long time ago.
Yeah, she was there for
I don't know
quite a
if she
while.
was. They go to the director quite often.
Yeah, I think she was one of the longest ones.
Morning, Wade.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir,
Living the dream
every day.
every day. Every day is an opportunity to make a difference.
That it is.
As long as I get that opportunity, I'm doing a lot better than others.
Got to stay hydrated. You gonna have much for us today, Wade?
Two things.
Two things.
We're almost there. You see an invoice come across for J&J Drainage Products? Does it say what it's for?
Just, it is.
Is that over there, is it this?
Is it your-
That's the one for
$4,000.
$4,750.
Yeah.
That's that 40-foot pipe. I would almost bet that's one's going on Zurich Road,
Okay.
but that's a guess. Because that's a pretty good sized drainage out there. I know it's 40 foot long and 6 foot diameter or 7 foot diameter.
Okay.
It's not necessary.
I was just curious because usually, but.
It is identified where it's gonna be, put in, which it doesn't. but-
Usually gets these pipe from Connex or something like that, so that was weird.
I bet that's one on Zurich Road.
That's what it says on the invoice, it's for.
I'm sorry?
It says on the invoice, it's for Zurich Road culvert.
I just hadn't heard of that.
It was in the, Bill. He has a copy of the minutes here, I don't know when it was, but it shows here to get it. Johnson moved at 9 seconds. But I don't know when the minutes were. March 31st is, yeah, calculate money.
Hmm?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a big deal. I was just curious as to what it was.
It's something we'd authorize.
I was just,
It's just one.
because usually the culvert pipes come from Connex or for whatever reason, it just, that one didn't ring a bell with me.
Quick break while we're waiting on, before we get paid. While we're waiting on them guys to get done.
It's under $2 a gallon. Yeah, $1.90, $1.80, somewhere in there. Excuse me. Well, I think it's bringing some cold mix up, huh? And then you kill it all. Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
I don't know what that thing's supposed to do nowadays.
I lost track. What is the new 15-foot brush hog cost?
Geez, I don't know. Pretty expensive.
I've kind of lost track, but
Who's it from?
So,
That's where we've got the last, quite a few that's been sloops.
but this was just repairing one.
How much that cost?
And
Half the price, anyway.
ouch.
what brand was it? Was it Bertone?
There you
As I said, it's 170.
go. Is it one wing or two wing?
I think it's,
I'm sorry?
On this reauthorization, where it talks about
Might be two wings.
program legislation.
Well, I'm sure it's bad one.
Program legislation in all heritage areas under one piece of legislation supersedes the individual program bounds. So he's talking about this one having different wording so that it doesn't fall under the same. This would be a new program legislation.
I think
that
contradicts
supersedes.
Correct. A little more side down the road.
Is that with this reauthorization, it would all fall under legislation that would
I
supersede
think it might-
this?
I don't know, is it maybe 1 ton or? I think it's 1 ton.
I think it is. Mhm.
I don't know, don't sound like that.
And I see it a couple years ago too. I see it getting out there.
Bertone? I do know.
Parts.
I don't have the other prices posted.
Some are less using about, I'm sure that's 6, 7.
Yeah.
So since July the 4th is on Sunday, we'll be closed on Monday, won't we?
Yes, Memorial, Monday,
July.
July.
July, yeah.
And say, so Jesse gets another day off.
Can know that. We'll be here Tuesday, won't
Yeah.
I'll actually get a holiday.
we? It seems like I don't get holidays. It seems to matter.
Or I'll actually get a 3-day weekend. I'll spend the holiday here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he talked, it had nothing to do with the 30/30, but yeah.
But it could if, like, it talks about,
Same way.
make sure the program of national heritage areas within the National Park Service, much like National Trails, Pony Express Route 66. So there's new legislation that they, and if this all ends in 2021 and they need new legislation, that will be right. I mean, it just because this ends.
What's that paid holiday?
Is there such a thing?
Exactly.
And I don't know if it's necessarily can't do,
No, no.
but it would give the ability to
Small run.
No,
force it to do.
No,
If they're
it's just like a
services
lot,
of the
but-
land that they would be interested in,
Oh.
other protected areas. And if this would be considered protected area,
the brake calipers are on. Well,
it would fall into that category, not because they were part of it, but because that means that
Speed
also.
sensor.
Right.
That is causing one to apply and then the other to apply. Get lost. I have to look at it. I just got it on there the other day. Did you get any information on what you spent and what made there the other day? Fine. Yes, Then all done.
Because even though it doesn't have anything specifically to do with the
Takes a long time if you sit there and look at,
one.
just to sign them all takes a long time, you need to look at them.
And other.
You'll learn which ones you just sign and go on because they're normal and which ones you want to look at.
Correct.
That one's through. We kind of looked at that one thing, so we'll go back.
Look at them, a lot of them you'll learn, oh, well, that's just, I know what that's for.
We're done, Wade, if you're ready.
Yeah.
We're done, checks and vouchers, I should say. Move on to the next order of business.
So, one thing just for informational purposes is, I don't remember, it might have been Don. Don's usually the one that asks about the tax sale, what's going on with the tax sale. And I put a request out to to Glenda Osterman, who's working on the tax sale, to see where we were, what was going on behind the scenes, and just highly summarize because there's a whole lot more to it than just this. But we are in the publication phase of the tax sale. So for the next several months, there'll be publication that goes out to different entities and parties that are pulled into the tax sale. From that point, there'll be a notice, legal notice that will have to go out, and then the conclusion will be in the timeline that's been provided to me where the tax sale is potentially going to be a go is in September. So it's not that far out, but I think anytime after September, there'll have to be some logistics that get worked out where a secure location where the tax sale could be held. My suggestion would be potentially in this room. But we'll work that out later on down the road. So,
I mean, because we've waited this long to add another year, how many parcels is projected to be in this tax sale now?
that figure I don't have right now. Once we get past, I mean, there'll have to be an amended petition filed. There is what I think they call the skeleton petition. It's already on file, but they have to get the title descriptions and make sure they send out notice to all the appropriate parties. Some of them are local, some of them are out of state, some of them are the government. So that's key. If that's not done, then you end up with complications on the back end, because if title doesn't pass the right way, then you have issues. So you have to make sure that's done right.
I saw the list, but it wasn't as long as what the original list was, so.
But I think once people get put on notice, then they want to get it taken care of before it gets more and more expensive, or they potentially lose it.
I think the last list we've seen, it was down to 15 to 16, but then we had another year into it. And I'm not sure how many parcels that brought back into it.
It was longer than that. I have it at my office somewhere.
So the next thing I need to do is request, some of this is fluid and it's moving parts, so I would normally wait until Monday, but on this particular issue, I'm not waiting until Monday. So I'm gonna request a 15-minute executive session with myself and the board to discuss an internal county matter that requires some legal advice to the board. And that legal advice would qualify under the attorney-client relationship exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act under 754319B2.
15 minutes with the board and you.
Yes, sir.
So moved.
10, Don's moved, excuse me.
I'll second.
10 seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're going at 10:53.
got this yesterday from Randall when I was doing some research on this one. I don't even know what it is. It's part of the radio program. This is our annual service agreement for the software package, so for the laptop, so we can program. Do I need to get from them, just ask them what account they want to take that out of? Or can I authorize it since it's under 10?
Is this an online?
Yes,
Okay, the radio, is this an annual thing?
yes.
Just a service agreement annual, and that would probably come out as well.
This is part of the radio program.
Okay, then do the others, but if it's going on from next year, then it would probably need to be.
It wasn't out of my budget as far as I know. This was just,
Okay, let me look here.
because I know this wasn't planned into it because this was part of
Sure, okay, let me look that.
the radio program when they bought spent the $2 million. Sorry.
Actually, then it would probably become the courthouse general, I would think. If it's a service agreement. And I'll find courthouse general.
And like I said, this is part of the overall radio project.
This is general fund, courthouse general. Contractual.
I was just gonna say, Ken, I just had Chelsea send that up to you. I forgot to speak.
Yeah, that's fine. I can use that.
Okay.
Because, yeah, that's, from last year. Did we have anything last year?
I don't know. I didn't go looking for it because things I'm doing to the party on the radio management side of this.
Probably not, because, I'm looking for someone I know. Well, for now, we'll just do it in there, and then
Okay.
just bring the, we can meet them.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is things going smooth today?
Yeah.
Good deal. It's good for everybody.
Yeah.
We lost a couple on the way.
They didn't know the route.
Haven't been it enough to know how to get back and forth.
Leash us all together so that way we
Can we take the elevator? Does it get off on that floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
You won't get enough exercise that way.
I know it. I go to a meeting 2 days every 2 months and speak on the 5th floor of the building, and I use the stairs up and down. And sometimes when I get to the top, I'm pants.
So windy,
It's okay.
at least you can get there.
I can make it, that's right, that's worth a lot.
All present and accounted for.
Now, I need a motion to recess into executive session, again, for consultation with the county counselor to discuss matters involving county policy that encompass matters deemed privileged under the attorney-client relationship exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, same exception as before. 10 minutes, myself, the board, and Bobby Skipper, Economic Development Director.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Bob moved.
Jesse's moved,
All second.
been seconded, all in favor.
Aye.
We're on 11:13.
Yeah, yeah. Hope it's next day. Would you need? Oh.
I'm not. I hang on. Randall Farm.
Or what?
Whoa, you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. It wasn't for that, but.
I was going to catch you.
Get that thing going.
That's all I have for today.
Anything else, share roundtable wise, nothing?
Not today.
Angie?
Only thing is that we're closed Monday for Memorial Day, and their meeting will be on Tuesday at 9.
Tim? Jesse?
Not
Bob?
a, fine.
I'm good. I think Andrea's done a good job getting us a lot of information on this Freedom's Frontier thing and contacting Mr. Ogle to come and all that kind of stuff. Kudos.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate it.
Do you have anything to share with us?
Just looking at this reauthorization page on their site, if anybody wants to see this, it talks about how 2021 being their sunset year, being the end of the 15 years, even in the paperwork that he brought, the termination of authority, and they call 2021 their sunset year. So they're needing a reauthorization. In one of their paragraphs, program legislation will bring all heritage areas under one piece of legislation, superseding individual program bills and individual sunset dates. So that would be something to find out if everything he says, this is unique in the way it's worded. It looks like if 2021 is the end of their federal funding, and this gets brought under one program, would that supersede what he's saying exempts them from becoming part of?
If, and I don't know, but if the other group hadn't been in here 3 weeks ago, would they have even came back for a renewal?
Right, because he does already have this proposed resolution in his, that, yeah, would he have brought this if they needed this? in
Said they don't
2020?
go out
Right,
and solicit, but
I don't know. Who knows?
how would we know?
That's one of those deals where there's some unknowns to it.
Yeah. Or
One,
something else.
one leads to another, so.
I think I'll call the last group that was here today, have them watch the video.
Okay.
And have her either come back if she feels the need, or if we'd like for that to happen, or maybe reply in a letter form.
I think either way we jump, whether, one resolution or the other, I mean, opting out or opting in, probably need some careful consideration.
I'll get in
So, yeah,
contact.
not a bad idea.
But I've seen there's no middle ground
No,
from these two presentations. There's no middle ground.
and you're right, they don't match up either.
No,
My thought is have them respond by something in writing. If they come back, then Jim may want to come back. You end up, or you quit.
I'll get the one in letter. I'll ask her to
I think that
respond
may
in
be,
letter.
rather than asking them to come back or volunteer that they come back. I don't know where that would all end up at,
Right.
but that's just my,
I could see just back and forth,
Yeah.
and we're set here.
Do a little of our own exploration as well, but yes, Angie?
Oh, I was just gonna say, we probably wanna do that CP4U motion. Sorry, I thought you were done.
do you need this then to,
You can have them sign, but do you wanna do, move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the updated CP4U dated Wednesday, May 26, 2021?
That's fine, but I don't know if anybody wants to see it. Basically, it reflects all the department head salaries with the change of treasurer. Forgot to put my glasses on, sorry. Wade and Brad.
Karen, Brad?
Yeah, Karen, Brad, treasurer, IT, and
Those are the two.
only two, I guess.
should be the same as what it was after we made the change in January, except with three changes.
Yes.
And I could look at it, I wouldn't know exactly if it's right or not without looking.
But I just thought I'd inform
I
everybody.
only gave her 2 changes. What was the third one?
There was.
That one,
Oh.
that one was way before then, so it should just be the two.
This should be Brad and Karen.
Yes,
Should be.
correct.
I'm sure it's been double checked, so.
So, the motion as follows.
So, go ahead. Tracy.
Jesse's moved,
All second?
and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
And then I'll get that updated copy for you.
I
I've got one thing. Was it, I forgot, Monday's a holiday, so Tuesday is a court day.
Uh-huh.
So if you need me, you just need to let me know and I'll have to take a break. I'll be available, I just, we'll have to triage what's going on.
We like having you around, but hopefully we don't need you.
Maybe we can do it without you for a day.
You know where to find me.
Yes, sir. Anybody else? That's it. We'll 11:31. Till Tuesday morning.
Weekend.
Yes.